What's cracking, YouTube world? Today's discussion is going to be about hardware gear and how musicians, beat makers, and producers they will pay for that hardware gear. If it sound good, that's the key word. If it sound good. So before we get deep into that, we will be talking a little bit about mixing in the DAW, all that type stuff. But we're not going to focus heavy on that because, like I said, today's subject is about hardware gear and that we'll break bread, spend money if this hardware gear, if it sounds good. So I started my journey off of Fruity Loops. Everybody loves Fruity Loops, right? Yeah. And major shout out to Fruity Loops, by the way. I was selling a lot of beats using Fruity Loops. Ended up getting a MIDI controller because I got tired of clicking and dragging or pecking where you want the kick, the snare hat to go. Some people roll like that, but I could only do that for so long. So anyway, ended up getting a MIDI controller. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So any day I ended up going to a music shop. It's called Grandma's Music. Used to be in Albuquerque. Cool dude in there. He's my boy to this day. He was my first engineer, and I'm not even good at engineering or hooking up stuff. He's the one who taught me how to hook up all this equipment. But anyway, I'm in there. I'm like, man, I'm liking this MPC. He was like, yeah, we got an MPC and we got the MV8000. I was like, wow, okay. I was like, let me make a decision here because I want to keep going, in the hardware starting, AKA from that MIDI controller, just getting something to put my hands on, to go from my brain to my hands. It felt like I was actually doing music. So I went ahead and I rolled with the MV. It was cheaper than the MPC. And I wish I would have got the MPC at the time, but I went with the MV. Ended up getting a tutorial on it, learning how to use it. I started making beats. Wow, my beats were sounding way better than what they were sounding when I was doing them on Fruity Loops. And not that the beat was any better, it's just that the machine sounded better. So I went back into grandma's music. I'm speaking in, dude, what's up? Like, why my beats sound like they hitting now? He was like, because when you were doing them before, you were just using a computer. He was like, now you're actually going out of your MV8000 through a mixer to your DAW. He's like, dude, it's like night and day. I was like, yeah, it is. I'm like, it's still not like Dre's how I want it because I'm not getting besides just a machine. They're also running it through other machines after the fact that they do the beats on. But anyway, he was like, yeah, that's what it is. So speed up the story. I ended up getting a financial buy. Had to pawn the NV8000. I'm like, I get it back out. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Didn't happen. Ended up losing the MV. Let's speed up the story again. Bam, Native Machine come out. I'm looking at this joint on YouTube. I'm like, wow, this is where it's at. I'm listening to these beats. I'm seeing these colors on these pads. Like, what? They got color on pads now? I see Ski Beats doing video. Make shout out to Ski Beats too. People are asking him, how do you do this? How do you do that? And he's showing them. I'm like, I got to get one of these. Ended up getting the Native Machine. I'm like, yeah, I just connected to my laptop. Now I'm getting back into music again. I'm doing the beats. The workflow wasn't the same like the MV, but it was kind of similar. But it just wasn't for me. I really wasn't feeling it. And then I'm listening to the beats. I'm like, I don't know what's up with this. Something about these beats. They don't sound the same. Like they're not hitting like they used to. So I ended up giving my Native Machine over to this dope producer out here in Phoenix. His name is Fonzarelli. Look him up on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram. It's cricket letter 601, and then just type in Fonzarelli. He'll pull up immediately. He's a dope producer. But anyway, I ended up giving it to him. I'm like, man, whatever. So I'm looking at this MPC live. I'm like, let me check this out. I always wanted the MPC anyway. So I'm looking at the videos. Once again, got sucked in the video world. All these producers doing their beats and whatnot on it. I'm like, okay, I want one of these. And so, guess what? I got one for Christmas. I'm like, holy shit. Thank you for the MPC. It was even quicker than the MV8000. I'm like, man, this is dope. This is dope. I'm uploading videos on Instagram, getting a little following on Instagram, like boom, boom. I'm like, wow. I can just drag and drop now into Logic, out of Logic. I'm like, this is amazing. And then one day I get a message, and it's from this guy that's his name said EA Ski, and I'm like, EA Ski. I done seen this name before. I swear I done seen this name before. And so I look him up, and he's associated with KLC and Master P and No Limit. I'm like, hold on, I know I seen this name before. I think I got a CD with his name on it somewhere. And I was like, which CD was it? Which CD was it? I was like, it's West Coast Bad Boys too. I know I seen his name in there. So I'm going through my CDs and shit. I'm like, where that CD at? Open up the cover. Wow, this is from EA Ski. So of course I'm all giddy. I'm like happy. And so I go back to the message. I'm like I said, I read the message said I like your beats, but they're sounding a little thin. So I hit them back, and I was like, because I was thinking, I'm like, they sound thin. I was like, I replied back, how do they sound thin to you? And maybe an hour or two, hey man, give me a call. I was like, he want to speak to me? This guy who am I? I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. Like he wants to speak to me, so I'm like, shit. Like okay, let me go ahead and give him a call. Give him a call. He picked up. Boom. I was like, hey man, this crook, you sent me a message on Instagram saying my beats sound thin. He was like, bro, I like your beats. He was like, also would like you to try something a little different besides just trap beats because I always just did trap beats all the time. So anyway, long story short, I'm like, okay, why they sound thin? He's like, let me ask you another question. How are you uploading these beats on Instagram? I'm like, I'm dragging and dropping, exporting out the MPC. Bro, that's your problem. I'm like, that's my problem. He was like, yeah. He was like, you need to go out your MPC into a mixer and then into your DAW. I was like, okay. I was like, I used to do that with the MV8000. He was like, dude, you got to do it with the MPC. He was like, that dragging and dropping, it's not going to work. I was like, okay, what mixers do you recommend? Soundcraft, SSL6. So I'm like, all right, bet. Roger that. I'm gonna pick up a NPC. He was like, hey man, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or nothing, but just go ahead and pick up that mixer, and I guarantee your beats are gonna sound coming out better. So I got the SSL6, which is right here anyway, right there. So anyway, got the wires, everything, went to the mixer because I already knew how to do this because I made shout outs from Ian who taught me how to connect all this crap. But back to the story. So anyway, I go into the mixer and out the mixer to the DAW. And let me go back to the ski conversation. He was like, yeah, SSL6 has a dope G bus compressor on that SSL mixer. Bam, okay. So running the beat, hit that G bus compressor. I was like, wow. So when I used to do it before, just dragging and dropping or just, with the MPC, no hardware. My beats would look like that. I would use the stock maximizer that's in the MPC live here, live two. But when I ran it through that G bus compressor, it went from here to like this visually in Logic. I'm like, holy shit. So I sent him a message like, hey, is it cool if I give you a call? Immediately he called me. I'm like, damn, what's up, Ski? He's like, yeah, you told me, is it cool to call? I'm like, dude, man, these beats sound way better. He was like, I told you, you needed to run it through hardware. He was like, it sounds better too, doesn't it? I was like, yeah. I was like, man, thank you so much. He's up there like, reach out to me anytime you got any questions about, this hardware situation. And he is a stand-up guy. If he see that you care about your music, he gonna rock with you. If he see you flake, he ain't gonna rock with you. But back to my story, hardware, it just period. It sounds better than just making beats in a DAW. Not saying you can't. You can do it if you want to, but beat makers, musicians, however you want to call yourself, if you want your equipment to sound better, get hardware. Then on top of that, we're willing to invest in ourselves. I knew that this would be an investment to buy this because this wasn't cheap. I don't remember how much was it, 1,500, 2 grand. I don't remember, but it wasn't cheap. So I bought it, and it paid off. So the moral of the story is we have to hold these companies accountable for the hardware that they make. Like If you got the MPC Live, the MPC One, the Live Two, the list goes on and on. They are workflow kings. Everybody know it. I love the workflow. Oh my God. But do they sound as good as the MP4000? No. And don't tell me you can fix it in the mix. I don't even want to hear it. Fix it in the mix, fix it in the mix. How about it be fixed from the jump? The 4000 sounds better than the current generation of MPCs. And if Kai was to release an MPC with some good converters in it and it sounds good, we gonna buy it because we gonna spend our money on equipment. Keyword, like I said, if if it sounds good. And like I said, this isn't a shout out, a negative attack upon people who make their beats in the DAW. That's fine and dandy because there are some producers out there that can make it, everything in the DAW and it sounds immaculate. But I guarantee you can't do it. And if you leave a comment saying, "Oh yeah, I can do it," I bet you I'm probably gonna go to your page and the music is either trash, but ain't nothing wrong with that. My music was trash, or you don't have no picture, or you don't even have any music. I don't even want to. I want to hear you. I don't got nothing to hear what you. I don't want to hear nothing what you got to say. So, also major shout out to Georgia Muscle and EA Ski about the Imperial Fatso. It's not in the rack now. I just got a ghetto rig right here at the moment. I'm gonna put this in the rack today. But running your beats, your MPC, let's say if you do have an MPC live and you run it through this Imperial Fatso, wow, it sounds good. This gives more of like a tape saturation effect. It also has a warm effect on here, like a compressor, and some people even use it on vocals. This thing sounds good. This is more clean, but if you're looking for that real warm sound, and this is actually a tad bit louder than this, but it's all what you want to go to. Something clean, or you want to go for something warm and really compete with this because SSL, that is a company that makes good quality hardware, and also Imperial. This Imperial Fatso, and this is the junior. This is the first one. It sounds good. So I don't want to hear that. Oh, well, how about why would I just download some free plugins and you use it with my MPC or use the stock plugins? I can get the SCE or the X. So that doesn't even make sense. How about you just get you an MPC one for $600 and spend maybe like $1,500 or so for this? That's basically the same price as having an MPC X and SC. I'm not 100% accurate on these prices, but it's going to be close, even if you have to pay more. So if you just had an MPC one and it's Fatso, or the MPC one and this SSL, I guarantee it's going to sound better than you clicking and dropping and using your little maximizer on the MPC. It'll be dope if we can get a newer flagship with some dope converters in it. And speaking of hardware, I already know y'all know what that are. If you're heavy into production, that's Neve. I ain't gonna tell you what this. I gotta post that. But back to my point. Even if you want to buy plugins, you can add the hardware and it sounds amazing. So if that fix it in the mix, there's only very few that can do it, and you're not one of them. If you are, comment below. So again, major shout out to Georgia Muscle, major shout out to EA Ski. Um, Add him on YouTube and also on Instagram, and also on YouTube. He's dropping a lot of game about this hardware that I've learned a lot. He even has a member only section on YouTube. So all y'all people out there, y'all pay these memberships for what's that, OnlyFans and stuff. Cancel that. Get with EA Ski, add his membership. He have lives almost every day. He done had KLC from Beats by the Pound. He done had Warren G, Pete Rock, Daryl. The list goes on and on and on. Who else has he had on there that I can think of where you'd be like, wow. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank because there's so many dope producers that are industry producers who sold millions of records, and they giving game about this hardware. And if you think about it, there is not that I know of that is out there that's doing the same thing. I heard Timberland is doing a master class. No comment on that. Major shout out to Timberland, but this isn't a pit sale. This is only about trying to make your production better. Link it up with EA Ski. I went from here to there. One man's ceiling is another man's floor, so it's all about growing in this world. So again, we're gonna buy the equipment if it sounds good. Period, point blank. And if you really want to have better sounding production, just make that one time purchase. Get you an SSL, like I said before. Get you a fat. So running through something, you can even they even have guitar pedals that people are using now just to bring back that warmth in your production. Besides it sounding sterile, so if you got any questions, you know what? You can leave in the comments. I'm definitely not an expert, never said I was, but I do know what I hear. So add me on Instagram, Cricket Letter 601. Subscribe, like, comment, positive or negative on here. That's pretty much all I got to say. So major shout out to everybody out there. This is not an attack against anybody. This is just propelling um, producers, beat makers, engineers, just to be better because we all want to be better. So that's enough with me ranting. Excuse me, I'm gonna leave it at that. And oh yeah, don't forget the running, you dig? Peace.